morning. Welcome into another episode of Baseball and Coffee. This is a playoff preview, wild card game one, wild card round, game one previews. Obviously, no baseball last night. This is the first time I've ever done a show with no games to really look at from the previous night, but that's okay because there's going to be a second stream tonight during the games, Baseball After Dark, and that's how we're going to be working this. We're going to be doing a lot of, small recapping of the night before with previewing for that night, and then obviously watching throughout the night as we recap the early games. I'll usually be coming on right around, obviously I'll announce the times, but it's going to be right around the end of the second game, beginning of the last game, second to last game, beginning of the last game. So in this case, it'll be towards the ends of Yankees Red Sox tonight and the beginning of Dodgers Reds. I should note we have a new coffee working for me today. Cafe and Grano. This is the from Cafe Estelar in Veracruz, Mexico. This was hooked up by our friend Justin Courtney, who was on the stream the other night with me, hanging out. We're going to be doing more of that. But, a lot of things been planning, a lot of things in the works, a lot of things going on. And today, I just got a funny text. But today, we get to recap because the playoffs start today. It's the most exciting time of the year in baseball. And I really like the wild card rounds. It's only 3 games. We don't have the 1 game anymore, which was electric in my opinion. But the 3 games gives us more baseball, more stuff to talk about, more intrigue to break down. And I have a lot of notes to share and a lot of thinking to do as we get started.
Bye-bye.
Oh, you're saying bye again?
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye. I love you.
Wait, here.
Do you want to come say hi real quick?
Yeah. Show Daddy your hat. Just show Daddy.
He's running away. Ooh, good evening from India. Wow. Thanks for joining us from India. Oh, anyway, we were trying to get him to wear the beanie. He didn't want any of it. Love you guys.
Love you.
All right, see you later. All right. Man, this is so cool. We have people way off out here in the chat. We got people from Australia in the chat, India in the chat. I've had people from Korea, Taiwan, all over America, obviously Canada. And let's get into this a little bit, all right? Let's head over to the main screen. There's nothing to see, right? Nothing to see. So the question is, what order should we attack these games in? But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a little rewind, and we're going to hit the big notes that from the regular season one last time. This is courtesy of MLB Network, and I get this research packet in the email every day. And I usually glance over it and has a little bit of stats on a million games, and it's too much to kind of get through. But come playoff time, it's super useful. So I just want to shout out these researchers, Nate Purrington and his team, do an unbelievable job on this. And here's some stuff on 2025. 2025 was the first season since '05 without a no-hitter. We know Yamamoto came 1 out away. Shane Smith also retired the first 16 Nationals on Sunday, but his no-hit bid was denied. So that finished the first season in 20 years without a no-hitter. This is also the first time in MLB history that 3 players hit 4 home runs in a game. Suarez, Kurtz, and Schwarber. So that's very rare. 4 homers in a game. I mean, really, in my whole career, I can only think of the JD Martinez. There might have been one other. Was it somebody on the Reds, maybe? Cal Raleigh became the first switch hitter and first catcher to hit 60 homers in a season. He had 11 multi-home run games, which ties the MLB record. Willie Adames became the first Giant to hit 30 dingers since Barry Bonds in 2004. Chris Davis did it during my career. Or maybe Josh Hamilton. Josh Hamilton was another one. Scooter Gennett. Okay, we're getting good names in the chat. There you go. Bobby Witt led the majors with 184 hits, fewest ever by the MLB leader. So there was no 200, not even 190 hit season. 200 hits used to be the norm for guys like Derek Jeter, obviously Pete Rose, like guys who get a lot of hits. 200 hits. Ichiro every year was guaranteed 200 hits. So this year, only 184 hits, which is pretty wild. Trey Turner's 304 average was the second lowest in history for a batting champion, ahead of only Carl Yastrzemski, 301 in 1968. We all know in 68 and 69 the mound was super high, and they ended up having to change the rules about the mound after that. Yankees had their 33rd consecutive winning season to move into the second longest such streak in North American sports history. The only longer streak was their own streak, which was from 26 to 64 and spanned 39 years. Now, that's a crazy stat also, and it really speaks to, there's a lot of malaise over the Yankees stuff, but Brian Cashman's been in charge of a team that's never, ever, ever, ever been under 500, which is insane. Terry Francona joined Dusty Baker and Joe Torre as the only managers to make the postseason in his first season with 3 different teams. Francona, Red Sox, Cleveland, and now the Reds. Devers became the first player since Justin Morneau to play in all 163 games. So because he got traded, he gets to play an extra game because of a quirk in the schedule. And he ends up playing 163 games this year. Padres drew a club record 3.437 million fans, second most in the majors, which is insane because I used to go there when it was a graveyard and nobody was there. Obviously, it was the Rockies Padres mid 2010s, but there was nobody at the ballpark. I could have yelled to the dugout and they could have heard me from the bullpen. And now they're getting almost 3.5 million fans. Dodgers had the most, 4 million. Yankees and Mets were also over 3 million, I believe, this year. Nick Kurtz's 173 OPS plus is tied with Jose Abreu for the highest in a season and by a rookie in the modern era. James Wood finished only 3 Ks behind Logan Webb for leading the league in Ks as a hitter, which is crazy. And I love James Wood, but he had a horrible second half in a lot of ways. But I don't know. I still stick with him. I think he's going to be big time. I think he's still at 800 OPS, so it's kind of a crazy time when you can have that many strikeouts and still be very productive. Here's all the players that have retired. Kershaw, Michael A. Taylor, Rizzo, Kyle Gibson, Longo, Whit Merrifield, Josh Harrison, Lance Lynn, Moustakas, Barnhart, Trevor Cahill, Carp, my teammate from the Cardinals, Wilson Ramos, Segura, Wood, and Colton Wong. The last 3 postseason splits by seed. The 6th seed has the most series wins. This is scary right here. The 6th seed has 9 series wins. The 1 seed has 8, and the 5 seed has 8. So we're talking crapshoot city right here, and that's why styles make fights, right? And matchups are everything, and also just how you perform in this moment. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best team always, in my opinion. It's just like who played better today, who's hot right now, who's playing the best right now. That counts at this type of thing. Hunt for Red October. Cincinnati Reds' most recent postseason feats. Their last time they were in the playoffs was 2020. They got swept. The last time they scored a run was 2013 when they played the Pirates, and their last time they won was 2012 in a win versus the Giants. Now remember, they went 2-0 up in that series versus the Giants in 2012 in that first round. Giants came back, won all 3, and then went on to win the World Series. So that was kind of heartbreaking, and that was a really good Reds team, especially on the mound. Young Johnny Cueto, Edison Volquez, Homer Bailey. There was Bronson Arroyo, I believe. They had some good players. A young Chapman in the bullpen. And the last time they won a series was 1995 NLDS. So that's a really long time ago. That's like right when I started paying attention to playoff baseball, like a couple years in. Kershaw, good thing in here from Noah. Kershaw officially finished tied for best ERA plus for a starter with Pedro at 154. Ray Santos, Pokey Reese, that's right. Most managerial postseason victories. Joe Torre, of course, 84. Tony La Russa, my first manager, 71. Bobby Cox, 67. We have some guys coming up this list. Dave Roberts, 56. Tito and Tito has 44, and they play each other in that series, Dodgers versus the Reds. Best record in a pitcher's start this season. Interestingly, the best winning percentages belongs to Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers. They were 16-6 in the games that he started this year. That's 727 win percentage. This is a who's who of the best pitchers. Obviously, there's the Quinn Priester in here who had the crazy streak. They end up going 17-7 in Priester starts. All right, so now that's about it for the big picture stuff, and it's time to get into some of these games. Now, what order should we go at these games in? I have them all pulled up. The early game today is Detroit and Cleveland. I actually think we should do that last because then it's the freshest right before the game. So I want to work backwards. Let's start with the Reds and the Dodgers. And I actually have, you want to do start time? Order of start time? Okay. The people have spoken. Order of start time. All right, so Tigers and Guardians. We have some really good notes on this as well. A little bit on Gavin Williams and Tarek Skubal right off the rip, because that is the matchup. We don't have the lineups yet for any of these games. We know some information. Boone talked. A lot of these managers obviously talked yesterday at media days, but we know a little bit about generally how they'll attack each other. And interestingly, in this game right here in Detroit and Cleveland, these two pitchers just pitched against these teams. Gavin Williams just faced the Tigers, and Skubal just faced Cleveland. They both did it twice, like recently. So this is a very, very close proximity. And as good and as dominant as these pitchers have been, it makes me wonder a little bit if this is a little bit too much, like proximity. You know, will one of these guys get exposed a little bit, you know, just from overexposure, if you will. And so the notable pitcher batter matchups that they pulled from this game really illustrate how good Gavin Williams has been versus some of these hitters. Gleyber Torres, he's gotten 5 strikeouts in only 11 plate appearances, 2 hits. Riley Green, 5 strikeouts, 2 hits. He does have a home run, but he's hitting 143. Torkelson's hitting 100. Wensiel Perez is hitting 143. Zach McKinstry's hitting 083. So Williams has 5 guys here that he's pretty much dominated, and Riley Green has the 1 homer. You think Gavin is going to get hit bad in this start? This is the 3rd straight start. I know this is proximity time. All this stuff could flip, but to this point, he's shoved against these 5, and on the other side, Skubal has completely destroyed Arias. He hasn't touched anything. He's got 7 strikeouts and no hits, 12 plate appearances. But the fascinating one is Jose Ramirez. He's hitting 333 off him with an 872 OPS. So that makes me want to go watch some Jose Ramirez versus Tarek Skubal in recent times and just get an idea, because if you're gonna have one guy who can take over the game for the Cleveland lineup, obviously it's Jose Ramirez. So why don't we try to find that a little bit? Gavin has the chance to do the funniest thing, Spectre says, and Mars saying, I think Skubal drops his slot ever so slightly in the playoffs. Big Christmas home run incoming versus Skubal. 2009 Texas League style. Yes, exactly. 2009 Texas League style. Good call, Mitch. There's lots of overexposure in that league. You play the same teams over and over and over again, and I just know as a pitcher that makes me uneasy. So it's interesting to see how this will go. So we're looking for Skubal versus Jose Ramirez. So the way I would do that is I would go Cleveland and then Detroit. And I'm looking for our guy Skubal. It's actually funny because it's 2 games in a row, back-to-back. So first we'll look at the one in Detroit. And we'll pick up Jose Ramirez. All right, let's watch all the at-bats here, all the pitches, and we'll see what we see.
On those hands with the 4-seam.
Change-up coming here.
Throw the change-up down.
So, actually, Lance Brzezowski, who I've been, quoting quite a bit on here and giving credit for his outstanding analysis on his Substack, he talked a little bit about how Skubal has shrunk his fastball usage a little bit recently in favor of more leading at-bats off with more change-ups. Now, change-up's already his number 1 pitch, but I feel like he's just leaning into that even more when the chips are down. It's like right here, this is a 3-1 changeup. So if you're a hitter and you're facing Tarek Skubal, what's the proper approach? Like, do you try to play it straight up and just be on fastball timing? But it's hard to be on 99 timing with 2 different distinct movements on his fastballs. The sinker has a little bit of run and the 4-seam is like extreme perceived cut to it. Or do you just lay in the weeds and look for a changeup? Problem with looking for a changeup is it's a really good changeup.
3-1.
So now you're choosing to hit arguably his best pitch. I don't know if that's a good strategy. This is kind of a crazy play. He hit the crap out of this though, right? 96.8, not really. So 3-1 changeup in this first at-bat. Interesting. Question in the chat from Ray. Do you think him hitting that guy the other day is going to affect him? No, I don't. I don't think so. I think that's a one-off. All right, so this time he tries to get ahead with the slider, which is not his main MO. Ramirez is actually all over it, lines it to right field with a very nice approach here. It's just right at the outfielder. So I'm going to say, look, he's put 2 good swings so far in the first 2 at-bats. And then here in the third at-bat, now he's going to start him with the knuckle curve. So, for the most part, Skubal's just throwing fastballs and changeups. But you can see with this guy, he's willing to go with something different to get ahead in the count. There's that changeup.
Judging on 1-1.
Beats him with the fastball there. So threw him a ton of off-speed throughout this matchup. So that was one sinker there. I'm trying to see what this was a slider. And in the first at-bat, did he even see a fastball? Yeah, he saw one fast. So he sees 2 fastballs in that game. All right, let's go to the next one, which was like 5 days later. First at bat's going to be a walk, a 4-pitch walk. So it's a man on first. Starts him with the changeup. Remember, only 2 fastballs in that first game.
They're still trying to make their way in.
If I'm facing Scooble,
It's up high.
if I'm a lefty, I'm sitting on slider. Yeah, but if you're a righty, what do you sit on? Do you sit? Do you try to look at it like, do you just try to play it straight up?
It's up high.
I think in general,
3-0.
you probably
Jose
either hunt fastball or changeup, but I think if you're Jose Ramirez, you kind of have the ability to know that he's a little bit scared of you, so you can kind of, at this point, I think I would get off the fastball. This is only the 3rd fastball he sees, and it's ball 4 on a 3-0 pitch. Next at bat, another curveball. So again, Scooble has chosen pretty blatantly to begin these at bats slow. Here's the sinker, first sinker. It's the front door sinker attempt. That was a really good pitch. Amazed that he even swung at that, honestly. That's a great pitch. And this is part of what makes Scooble so damn good. This is 99 miles an hour up in. The thing is, if you wait on the slider, though, you might never get it.
Because if you're going to get or give up a home run, you got a chance.
You know?
Before you
It's not a very high usage pitch for him. Here's another changeup, 1-2.
the end of the bat foul.
Ooh, gets some. I don't know how he hit that, and this is like just another freakish ability because this is a strikeout 99% of the time if you swing at a pitch in this location. But he buys himself another pitch here.
Off the end of the bat.
Ridiculous. Now they're going to go back to the fastball. So you're talking a whole wow. Destroys him there. So that was really good pitching.
Shortstop Sweeney throws
Slowed him down enough to get a fastball hitter off fastball timing. And Jose doesn't give an inch. He's just smiling the whole way off the field. All right, last at bat that we're going to watch. This time he's got 2 on, so this is interesting.
Jose Ramirez takes
Ooh,
it's a cold
perfect front door sinker there. So this is also situational pitching here. They got the infield back. Got no outs, 2nd and 3rd, 2-run lead. So they don't want to play the infield in here. That makes sense. So interesting though. He goes fastball first pitch. Now he's going curveball.
rips it foul off the face.
Gets him to swing at it. Bad pitch. That's good. 0-2.
Slow chopper up the third
Heater
baseline.
up and in again.
The
So
Kings
he doesn't get a result
He
there.
has no
This is
run.
part of that
It's
disastrous
an easy
inning.
RBI
Doesn't get a result there with that fastball, but he threw outstanding pitches in this at bat. So I think if we're gonna break down what we're looking for today in this matchup, will he lead off any at bats with hard stuff? Because for the most part, it's all been soft. And then will now he continue to try to use the inside corner here? Wow, black looks awful on the screen. The inside corner here, because that seems to have been the most effective thing lately. He's blown his bat up one time. He's got 2 sinker takes on the inside, and then he blew him up here too. It's an infield hit. So maybe he tries to go here early. If there's any fastballs, I would bet they'd be up and in. But if I'm Jose Ramirez, I'm still looking off speed early in the count. That would be my approach. It's pretty tough though. All right, let's get back to this for a second. So here's the other information we have from here. From Scoops. He continues to cut the heck out of his 4-seam, something that we saw happening increasingly over the course of this year. He's actually increased his 4-seam fastball usage over the last 2 months, but he slashed the sinker down. So what he's doing is, before he was leading a lot of sinkers and then going 4s late. Now he's like barely throwing the sinker. Those are all changeups now. So the changeup percentage has kind of climbed a little bit. And especially in 0-0 count. See, he used to be 34% sinker in 0-0, but now he's only 23, and all those are changeups now. So he's leading off more at bats with changeups, which is an interesting spot. So it's also weird because the 4-seam shape has changed so much. So now he's getting more cut on his 4-seam. And in a way, it's taking whiff away from him, but it's creating better contact value. So he has to change the way he uses it a little bit. So these are all subtle things, but it's interesting with a team like Cleveland, who has a pretty good contact rate, I believe, that they have there's still an opportunity for chaos. That's how they beat him, is they introduce chaos into the game, kind of like they did last time. Couple bunts, they get a little batted ball luck with balls on the ground. They continue to relentlessly put the ball in play. and force him to be careful first pitch. I don't mind early ambush attempts for Skubal because that's probably your best shot a lot of the time, and it lets him know that he can't just plop a get me over pitch in there. So, on the year, he's thrown 28 innings with 40 strikeouts and 5 walks versus Cleveland. So, as good as I'm saying Cleveland, has a path to beating him, it's still a super, super big issue. All right, now let's look at Gavin Williams for a second. Gavin Williams got a lot better this year when he started throwing his cutter more. And he's got a unique cutter because he throws it pretty hard. Hold on. I have it in here somewhere. Yeah, Gavin Williams got better when he started throwing his cutter more. Let's go over him real quick. Above average. Yeah, what news about DeLauder? It's a little bit above average in speed, but I think because with righties, he's shifted into more of like a sinker slider mode, sweeper mode. This allows it to be a little bit of a bridge pitch, and then versus lefties, he's had really good location with this pitch, mostly inside, on that inside corner. So it's been useful, and he's been on a roll lately, and it's also he had no choice because the four seems to be getting smacked this year. Gavin Williams was very bad his last time out in the postseason. Do you think that will affect him this year? No, not necessarily. If anything, he's probably learned from it. And they're all different games. They're not necessarily created, but I don't know him as a person. This usually just comes down to, are you the type of guy that lets things linger in your mind? Or are you the type of guy that, uses your previous failures as a learning tool and then you're definitely better that next time around? I want to watch him a little bit. Now, I remember he pitched a really good game the last time, right? That we watched them. Yeah, six innings with 12 strikeouts. So we'll go back over there. Here he is. So this was the matchup before. It's funny that they keep doing this. Chase DeLauder, the outfield prospect. I don't know. He has added to 26-man Guardians roster. Will make his debut today. So they're gonna do a debut, playoff debut. This is always interesting when people do this. All right. Now, if I recall, last game he had really good off-speed pitches because we watched a lot of this the other night because this was a huge game. First inning, there's a paint 99 away. Kerry Carpenter. Oh, he crushed him with curveballs, if I recall. Let me double check that real quick. Yeah, 3 strikeouts all on curveballs. So that's a big thing to watch. Will he continue to throw the curveball to Kerry Carpenter? Will he make a mistake with a curveball in the zone to Kerry Carpenter? This is such a tricky thing as a pitcher. Like when you've shredded a guy with one pitch, but he's a good player. And it's like, at some point, he's going to figure it out. He's going to find a way. There's the sweeper, gets him. Gets torque. So yeah, I think it was a lot of curveballs and sweeper strikeouts in this game. Detroit chased an awful lot too. I'm wondering if their swing, if their approach with 2 strikes will be to take a little bit more. I know that's crazy to say when you have to protect the plate, but I would say take a little bit more. But then you end up with freezes like that. So featuring a really good curveball this last game, doing a lot of with lefties 4-seam cutter tunnels with curveballs off of it. Really good combo. Here's that Kerry Carpenter second curveball that he gets him with. You can see he was chopping over that thing all day. McKinstry with a curveball. So this is going to be a fun game. It's the early game. It's a day game. I always feel like it kind of sucks to play a playoff day game. It doesn't have quite the same magic. I mean, at least if it's a like 4 o'clock start, you can feel it a little bit in the fall, but I don't know. Something about a pure day game, playoff game always rubs me the wrong way, and I feel bad for a lot of the small market teams because that's their lot in life. They have to be in the day games, but it's still going to be electric, I'm sure, in this game, in this stadium. Today in Cleveland, they always show out there. And this has got a really good matchup, game one. Both these guys have shoved against these teams.
Have a seat. Strikeout
Man, that
number
was sick right there. And here's the third one to Carpenter. All he can do is shake his head after this curveball. So I'm really curious to watch him versus Carpenter in this game. If he just keeps dropping curveballs on him. And when, because I just feel like it's a little risky to keep doing it over and over and over again, despite how good it's been. There's another sweeper to Torkelson. He wasn't on that all day. So here's the home run to Riley Green, and I just want to remember how this went down. I think it might be curveball, fastball. So he gets him on a fastball. Yeah, kind of up and away, kind of where he wanted it. So knowing that he got to your fastball a little bit, I wonder if he gets even more curveballs today. Riley Green, he also got a hit. What did he get the hit on? He got a hit on a curveball. Interesting. Let's see where this was. Didn't look good on the curveball. I mean, he gets a hit here, but it's 59 miles an hour. The first time up, he gets him out with a cutter. Because these are the big at-bats. Man, that's a good pitch to hit. Doesn't hit it. And then this is a different pitcher. Okay, so that's the majority of what I got on that game for now. Although I think I might have some more stuff here. Yeah, here's the game notes for this game, and then we'll move on to the next one. On Sunday, the Guardians completed the biggest comeback in MLB history to win a division or pennant. They were 15 and a half games back of Detroit through July 8th. It's wild. Only the Rockies had a worse record than Detroit in September, and that's why everybody is picking Cleveland in this series, including me. Guardians are the first team to make the playoffs in a full season with a negative run differential since the 1987 World Champion Twins, which is also wild, with a negative 20. Cleveland won 8 of the 13 versus Detroit, including 5 of 6 over the final 13 days of the season. One big difference was the bullpen performance. Detroit's bullpen had a 4.12 ERA, and Cleveland's bullpen had a 1.75 ERA. So that's a big thing. Detroit's bullpen seems to have lost a little bit of its potency coming down the stretch. Cleveland, who doesn't have Clase anymore, has still found a way. Cade Smith's been incredible. We've already done a lot of this Skubal versus Gavin Williams matchup. And I know we've taken a long time on this game, but we should take a long time on all these games. Okay, what else we got? Jose Ramirez batted .347, 439, 593 with 7 extra base hits, 10 RBIs, and 10 runs scored in 13 games versus Detroit this season. If you are the manager of the Tigers, if you're AJ Hinch, your rule of thumb for this series is Jose Ramirez will not beat me. Now, with Skubal on the mound, you kind of let him do his thing. But after this game, Jose Ramirez is not beating me. I will be fine if somebody else beats me. I cannot allow him to beat me. Okay. Kerry Carpenter, who tormented Cleveland last October, let's not forget that. He had some huge home runs. He's finished the season in a slump. We just saw him punch out the 3 times on the curveballs. He has a home run off Cade Smith recently, but that's about it. And then there's a little bit of a positional battle, and we'll find out a little bit about how that's going to go down. Baez played pretty good in the final 4 days of the season. Could he start ahead of Trey Sweeney? All right, I don't know a lot about Chase DeLauder, so maybe we should look him up really quick. Chase DeLauder. So this guy's going to make his active debut this year. Well, he doesn't have very much AAA experience. Oh, this was in the playoffs. Regular season. So let's see how this kid did. Well, he hit really well. In AAA International League, Columbus had a 903 OPS, 517 slugging. Is there steals in his game? A little bit, not really. I wish I could get like scouting reports on here. You know how sick that would be? Do I have info? I feel like there are scouting reports somewhere on here. Back to the stats. Minors. Oh, we need regular season. He hasn't hit since July 11th. Not if you've been watching his rehab. Dude, he hasn't gotten at bat in 3 months? So he's injured this whole time. So he's getting off the IL and then coming on. This is how little I know about him. Thank you guys for having this information. You guys are the best. So we'll see how they use this guy. Lefty. They're going to be in the lineup against Scooble? There's no way. That would be a hell of a debut. Yeah, it's got to be a pinch runner. Maybe he's got some speed, or they want him in certain matchups. I don't know. Who's getting the boot? I guess it's because David Fry's got the broken face. I don't know. I mean, obviously, somebody's losing the spot. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, I think we've talked enough about this game. So this was game number 1. Game number 2 that we have here is San Diego and the Cubbies. Now, it is going to be Pivetta and Boyd. I did not know Boyd was pitching until last night, but Boyd will be on the mound today. Let's head down to that pitching matchup real quick, just by the StatCast stuff. So Pivetta is the better strikeout pitcher. Boyd's the better pitcher at limiting hard contact and walks. So it's contrasting styles. We watched Pivetta face the Cubs twice yesterday. He did okay, so he's not a speed threat. This is a weird debut for DeLauder. So we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, shit, we'll be here, so we'll watch it. We'll see if he gets in there. And Boyd, I think, struggled a little bit down the second half. So let's go into the game notes on this one and see what these buddies over here at MLB Network have for us, and then we'll see what's worth watching. Didn't give us any matchups there. All right, Padres at Cubs. Cubs are in the postseason for the first time since getting swept by Miami. I forgot about that. Sixto Sanchez, 2020 NL Wildcard Series. They haven't won a postseason game since 2017 NLCS. Yep, 2018 we beat them in the wildcard game in like a 14-inning game with the Rock Show. Cubbies have been scored 20-3 over its last 4 postseason games, all losses. This is the first playoff game at Wrigley Field with fans in the stands since that wildcard game in 2018. Ian Happ is the only remaining player from the 2017 Cubs. San Diego was in the postseason for the 4th time in the past 6 years. Last year, the Padres were one win away from eliminating the Dodgers. Now, if you remember, they didn't score a run in those last 2 games against the Dodgers. The Dodgers went all bullpen, basically, and just shut them the F out for 2 straight games, which nobody saw coming. And being that we were getting prepared with the Mets after we beat the Phillies to see who we were going to play, or we were obviously watching that series, we thought the Padres were the better team. Now, we ended up getting smacked around by the Dodgers anyway, but we thought the Padres were the better team, especially their pitching and their bullpen can be scary at times. These teams have met just once before in the postseason, but it was memorable. Padres overcame a 2-0 deficit in the 1984 NLCS, winning the decisive Game 5 on a 4-run 7th inning that featured Tim Flannery's famous grounder that went between Leon Durham's leg, and back-to-back doubles by Tony Gwynn and Steve Garvey. These teams split the regular season meetings this year, but they haven't played since April, so all that stuff's irrelevant. None of that really matters. And Pivetta fared quite well with the Padres in his first season. This was his best year. It's actually really cool to watch one of my former teammates become a Game 1 starter in the playoffs. He always had the stuff. It's weird. He just kept getting like a 4 ERA all those years with Boston. He would flash it, but you know, he gave up a lot of homers. There was a lot of roller coaster action, but I'm super happy for him. I mean, this guy works hard, super talented. I'll never forget watching him pitch in a spring training game. I was riding the bike at Salt River Fields, doing my morning routine in spring training, and they had, or afternoon routine in spring training, and they had like, you know, spring training games on MLB Network, and it was Pivetta starting for the Phillies, and he was a prospect, and I was like, who is this tall freaking stick figure up there? But he's throwing 96 with a curveball. So anyway, he's come a long way starting Game 1 here. He did lose to the Cubs at Wrigley on April 5th, which is his shortest start of the year. It was also freezing cold. Again, you can throw all that out. He is a Red Sox legend, especially for how he pitched in that postseason in 21. Especially against the Rays. Came out of the bullpen with the Rays in the Rays series and shoved and was doing stick figure walks off the mound. It was kind of sick. All right, Elias Diaz caught all but 1 out from Pivetta's 181 2/3 this inning, but Diaz suffered a strained oblique on Saturday and is day-to-day. Freddie Fermin remains an option behind the dish. Now, I'd love to tell you that this doesn't matter, but this absolutely matters. Nicky P has pitched to 1 catcher the whole year and had his career year. You try not to let this affect you, but this is a factor. We don't know how it will play out, but it's a possible weakness point. I will say that could definitely matter. Ooh, we got good stuff in the chat here. My impression on Pavetta this year has been pitching more in the zone due to being in a more home run suppressing environment. So his walks are down. He doesn't have the big innings against him. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense because he is such a fly ball pitcher, and Fenway, as we know, and even the AL East in general, can really get you. But he's stayed away from it a little better this year, and that would embolden you to be more in the strike zone. All right, Lose the Rise has hit. Oh, no, there's more. Seiya Suzuki is the fourth player in MLB history to appear in the postseason after homering in each of his final 4 games of the regular season. I told you he was red hot. He got big hits off Hunter Green. He got big hits against the Mets in the Mets series. He was all over the place. He had 2 homers off Nolan McLean when nobody else was even close to him. The other ones who did this was Big Philly, Ryan Howard, George Brett, and Mike Schmidt, so big names. Luis Arias hit .383 with 8 runs during a 15-game hitting streak to end the season, so that's super useful. He's such a polarizing player, but yeah, he can loom so large in a postseason if he comes up in the right moments. His little pokes to the outfield, can break you. All right, now we're going to talk a little Padres bullpen. Even without Jason Adam, who's out for the year with that quad tear, the Padres still have the best bullpen in the league, 3.06 penny ERA. Mason Miller enters the postseason with 21 1/3 consecutive scoreless. He's been looking un-effing real the last couple months. That goes without saying. Pumping 100, 102, throwing immaculate innings of all sliders. And he's not even the closer. Robert Suarez led the NL with 40 saves, 2.06 ERA in 33 appearances since July 2nd. Adrian Morejon, I don't know if he finished the year as the WAR leader on Fangraphs for relievers, but he's at least in the top 3 or 4. He had a hell of a year. He held lefties to a 148 average with 1 extra base hit. So those are 3 guys that the Cubs don't want to face at all. So you want to play from out front against the Padres. Palencia is the Cubs' closer, but he's pitched just twice since coming back from a strained shoulder. So Brad Keller and Andrew Kittredge have had saves while Palencia was hurt. So that's kind of their end of the game mix. There's also Estrada, good call there, Mar. Estrada is also really, really good for the Pods. They even have other guys too. Also a big deal is that Cade Horton has a fractured rib and he's unavailable. So the Cubs are now going Boyd in this first game. Boyd has a 5.51 ERA over the last 9 games. He did beat the Cubs. He did beat the Padres at Wrigley in April, but that's obviously a long time ago. Also, a big injury in this series is Ramon Laureano. His finger is out. That's a big deal for the Padre offense. He was actually a really pleasant surprise this year and had a big year. Yes, Josh, I agree. No Laureano, big blow. Kyle Tucker, 1 for 11 in the 3 games since returning from his strained calf. So there's a chance he goes to the outfield or he'll be DHing. And then Fernando Tatis had 7 homers in the final 20 games. His career in the playoffs is absurd. 375, 474, 854. So that looks like a 1,300 OPS off the top of my head. Yeah, in 48 at-bats, obviously, but 6 homers, and he likes the big moment. I think there's a lot of variables in this series, like a lot of variables in this series. And I'm curious to watch how Palencia looked his last 2 games. Who did the Cubs finish the year with? With the Cardinals? This might be something that we can check up on real quick because we need the Cubs bullpen. Like I said, they need to play out front in this series. Here, so he pitched on the 3rd to the last game of the year. And all of this series could obviously go either way, but I definitely think I'm giving edge Padres. I think Boyd is... I just don't like the Cubs pitching enough. All right, let's watch how Palencia looks. So the velo was there, 100 miles an hour here. Obviously, this is an 11-1 game. He had that weird game where he had been crushing it, and then he had a weird game in Washington where he kind of imploded, threw a ball, grabbed his shoulder, popped out of there. Then he came back after kind of the minimum stay on the IL. Maybe making me wonder a little bit. Terrible call there. But he still has a heck of a year. He was closing. He's the one guy in their staff with the premium velo. So I think in a perfect world, they're going to need him. And there's 101 up top. So the velo looks good. I see him going right back into a late inning role, no doubt about it, with Keller and Kittredge. I don't know who else they have out there that's healthy right now. I might have to look into more of their bullpen mix. But they're competing with the best bullpen in the big league. So you would think, on paper, it would make a lot of sense that if the games are tight, it's advantage Padres, even with this game being in Wrigley. These games being in Wrigley, I would still say advantage Padres. Now, I'm wondering a little bit about early game shadows. 3 o'clock start in Chicago. I wonder what the wind conditions are going to be. These are all things to play in to this series. But overall, I'm picking the Padres, and definitely picking the Padres in tonight's game. But this could definitely go either way. I can't wait till we get the lineups. It'd be really nice if we could get the lineups. But we're a little bit too early in the day. Drew Pomeranz is another weapon for the Cubs as well. I think he looms large, definitely. I'm trying to think here. I mean, offensively, I think the Cubs have the edge a little, but it's not huge. Whereas I think the pitching edge is huge for the Padres in terms of the amount of guys that they can go out there. Mike Schilt, manager for the Padres, was actually my bench coach in short season ball. Great dude, known him a long time. Fiery competitor. Not going to hesitate to use his advantage in this series, which is his pitching staff. Wonder how Michael King will factor in. I think if they make it beyond this round, he'll probably get a start. I don't know who else is going to get the other states. Okay, here's the weather report from Mitch, who's in Chicago on the ground. 83 degrees, okay, but wind blowing slightly in off the lake. Okay, so look for a pretty typical night, actually. The hot weather kind of counteracting the slight breeze in. Should be pretty normal, pretty typical. Yes, Josh, Drew Pomeranz from the depths has been an incredible story. It's true. He didn't play for like 4 years in the big leagues. Now he's back doing great. Keller quietly had a really good year in a lot of categories. They don't really have a lefty that they love out there, huh? The Cubbies. Thielbar is the main lefty. So 25.5% K rate, 5.9% walk rate's pretty good. His expected numbers are good. He's actually probably has the best expected numbers on the team, I would imagine. Let's take a look at that real quick. Yeah, Thielbar number 1, Kittredge, Keller, Palencia, Soroka, Pomeranz. So Pomeranz and Thielbar are the two lefties that they're going to roll with. Obviously, J-Mo is potentially starting. Shota, definitely. Does Ben Brown make the playoff roster? Yeah, Pomeranz is a lefty. I knew that. There's two of them. My bad. I was just thinking that Pomeranz, they've been using him in a hybrid role at times too. Like he's been opening some games. He can go multi-inning. He has starter pedigree from the beginning. So, I don't know. I'm picking the Padres in this one for game 1, but this should be an exciting game. 3:08 from Wrigley. And then tonight, the rivalry is renewed. We will switch back over to our Yankees-Red Sox mind state now. And this is game 1 from the Bronx. Great matchup. Crochet and Max Fried. This is the 5th time these two teams have met in the postseason. They've split those 24 games. The Yankees won the 99 and 03 ALCS, but Boston has eliminated the Yankees each of the last 3 times. 04 ALCS, obviously that is the famous comeback year. 2018 ALDS, both teams had 100 wins. Red Sox had like 108. They went on to win the World Series. And 2021 wildcard game, I was on the Red Sox for that game. Didn't pitch, but cheered my ass off. Yankees haven't won a postseason series against a non-AL Central team since beating the Orioles in the 2012 ALDS. That's an insane stat. So they've just been beaten up on the AL Central for over a decade now. So they need to break out of that streak. We have a lot of stuff in the chat. People are juiced about this. Did I see Jack Curry's projected lineup? Caballero at 3rd, Rosario at 2nd. We'd be pretty surprised. Well, so Rosario has outstanding numbers actually against Crochet, which I'll get into in a minute. So it's going to be interesting to see if he actually does play. He played a little bit the last few games, but we'll see. The defending AL champion Yankees return to the postseason after leading MLB in runs scored. 5.2 per game, home runs, 274, and 4th in starting ERA. That's a pretty good combination if you can swing it. But the Yankees bullpen, 23rd in the ERA at 4.37. I do feel like, yes, they are trending better, though. 0.53 ERA, 2 runs in the last 33 and 2/3. That is kind of going to make or break this season for the Yankees in my mind. I think they'll score enough runs. I think the defense has largely been cleaned up. McMahon makes a big difference. Jazz being at his natural position. I think the outfield defense is good. Obviously, shortstop, we haven't heard much negativity around that in a while. So those are good things. Devin Williams posted a career worst 479 in 62 innings this season. And he has allowed 6 runs and 2 1/3 across his postseason appearances. So a lot of pressure on Devin Williams, obviously, but he's got a chance to really come through big. Yeah, I think they're going to play Goldie tonight, is my guess. Actually, I think Boone already said Goldie's going to play. This is just the second postseason appearance for the Red Sox since winning the 2018 World Series. Obviously, that 2021, the season I was there, we lost the Astros in 6 games. Not a great feeling. Boston won 9 of 13 regular season games versus the Yankees this year, including 5 of 7 meetings in the Bronx. But the Yankees did take 2 out of 3 in September. Yankees are the 10th team ever to enter the playoffs on an 8-game winning streak. The last team to do so, the 2019 Nats, won the World Series as a wild card. Max Fried, 6-0, 1.55 ERA over his final 7 starts, which began with a 6-inning scoreless game versus the Red Sox at Yankee Stadium, albeit in a 1-0 loss. He joins JV, Justin Verlander, and Kershaw as the only pitchers in the past 20 seasons to win their final 6 starts and then go to the playoffs. That just kind of doesn't mean much. Fried was 1-1, 1.96 in 3 starts versus Boston this season. However, Crochet won all 4 games that Crochet started versus the Yankees. He went 3-0, 3.29 ERA in those 4 starts with 39 strikeouts and 4 walks. We watched all of the at-bats yesterday, Crochet versus Judge. That's going to continue to be fascinating. Will he switch up his approach and go a little more off-speed? As he did a little bit in the last game, but he's really got to hit that up and away spot. He's really got to hit the top rail with the fastball against Judge. Will Judge sell out to the top rail? There's a lot of cat and mouse between these great competitors, and I'm looking forward to it because they faced each other entirely too much this year, and it might swing in Judge's favor at this point in the year, but we'll see. And speaking of Judge, he looks to put his postseason quote-unquote struggles behind him. He's batting 165, 284, 365 in his last 2 playoff appearances, 35 strikeouts in 23 games. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff about him in the playoffs, but I think he's a playoff performer. I think sometimes maybe he tries to do too much or too much is required of him. But a big key is also Big G, Giancarlo Stanton's career 662 slugging in the postseason, which is 4th best all time. If he shows up as well, that can really carry the team. But I think it's the guys like Rice, Bellinger, Grisham. Those guys hit. I think the Yankee offense becomes really tough to deal with. And here's the numbers versus Crochet. Ahmed Rosario, 6 for 9 with a double and a homer. So they could play him at third instead of McMahon. Rosario is also a pretty good defender, so you don't lose as much there. But McMahon obviously is one of the best defenders in the game. This is a tough choice. And then these are some other ones. Will Booney load up on righties tonight and sent Grisham and Rice to play Slater and Goldschmidt? I think Goldschmidt plays. I doubt Slater starts, but obviously we'll just find out. We'll see. Romy Gonzalez and Rob Refsnyder were both top 10 in slugging versus lefties, a list topped by Aaron Judge. So the Red Sox can do a little bit of juggling of their lineup as well to try to fit a lot of these matchup guys in. I saw it presented yesterday. They could maybe play Cedon Rafaela at second. They could play Romy at first. And then they could find a way to get Refsnyder in there in the outfield and kind of move things around a little bit. But then Yoshida, who's been their hottest hitter, would be out. So there's a lot of stuff to worry about in terms of picking the right witch's brew tonight if you're the Red Sox picking their lineup. But you're just hoping that Crochet shows up again and continues to do it. It's funny because I kind of favor the Red Sox a little bit in the series, but oddly tonight, I think the Yankees have a decent shot just because they've seen Crochet so many times. And they kind of need this one. It'd be tough to go back against the wall, and Alex Cora, the Red Sox manager, will do a really good job of mixing and matching with 2 games to play to get to 1 win. So tonight's a huge game. Like, these games are really, really big. Every time I've been in one of these 3-game series, you know, the team that wins that first game, it's such a sigh of relief. Now, of course, you can lose game 2 and you're back to panicking again, but you sleep so much better at night knowing that your playoff life isn't immediately in the balance that second game. This is why the 1-game playoff was so electric. Never been more nervous in my life than before the 3 one-game playoffs that I was a part of. 2017 and 2018 with the Rockies, and then 2021 Red Sox Yankees. Just like you play a 162-game season, you feel like you've been grinding from that whole period plus spring training. Then you get there and it's just like if we lose today, it's such an empty feeling. You want to at least win that game. So now it's 3 games, but don't get it twisted. This game is still huge. The juices will be flowing, as they say. The bleacher creatures will be out, and this is electric. Yankees Red Sox. This is we're really in for a treat to start this off. All right, I'm gonna put a little poll in the chat real quick, just who we got in this one. We got Red Sox or Yankees. All right, I'm putting that in the chat. All right, let me look in the chat here a little bit because I've been blabbing for a little while. Yeah, the Red Sox are a little bit of the land of misfit toys, and the Yankees as well. Like with their bench guys, you know, there's like the Slaters, the big time platoon guys that hit the lefties, like the Ref Snyders and the Slaters, and then you have like the Caballero, who's like the thorn in your side type of dude. That's like kind of like Nate Eaton. I don't know. Each team has like a little bit of weird skill sets. I do think the Red Sox are really hurting that they're missing this guy, Mr. Roman Anthony, not ready to play yet with the oblique injury. He changes the whole Red Sox lineup. He was the Devers replacement. He is, quite frankly, just a great hitter. Controls the zone well, so that really hurts. Sox also just kill lefties, says Josh. Yeah. You know, Max Fried's got his handful tonight, and it's interesting that there's 2 different styles of pitcher here a little bit with Fried and Crochet. They both strike guys out, but if you look at the strikeout rates, it's no comparison. Crochet's at 31.3%, and Fried's down here at 23.6%. But Fried does it with a huge mix of pitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitches, whereas Crochet is 4, and really the changeup is very rarely part of his mix. It's really 3. So Crochet comes out and he tries to ram it right down your throat and play the power game. And Fried has power in his game, but it's really more of a mix and match finesse game, movement contrasting game. So that's, like I said, it's a little bit of contrasting styles. They're both going to face lineups that are tailor-made to beat them. You know, the best that the other team can put forth. I do think the Red Sox, who crush lefties, pose a tough matchup for Fried, but I don't think that they've seen him as much as the Yankees have seen Crochet. So we'll see how that works out and how that batters out. I mean, I'm trying to get my head wrapped around this matchup. This could really go either way, obviously. In the running game, if Narvaez is back there, he throws everybody out. Wong is more average-ish, and both Yankees guys are kind of average-ish. Obviously, in the defense, you know, we all know about Sadon, but that whole outfield is special defensively, and really speedy for the Red Sox. And the Yankees is pretty good, but we'll see if Grisham's even in there. I don't think Grisham's going to play tonight necessarily with Crochet as the starter. We will see. We'll see how Booney decides to go with it. This should be a fun matchup. What else we got here? Fried's cutter is so nasty. Red Sox record without Roman is near perfect 500 team with current roster. Yeah. It's crazy that a 20-year-old or 21-year-old can be this big. Yeah, we can get a poll for Tigers Guardians after this one. I think I'm picking the Red Sox in this series. Of course, I have a little bit of a skin in the game. I want the Yankees to win this series. You know, for keep my hopes of one of those group projects where you did nothing on it and you get the prize alive. But at the same time, you know, I have love for both of these organizations, I know a lot of these people, you know, good people on both sides. And I just think, if I'm being fair, I think the Red Sox are not scared to play in Yankee Stadium. And I can see them, all it takes is just getting a little momentum to make the atmosphere in the stadium not optimal. But this is going to be really good. I think it goes all 3 games, and it's tight at the end with Whitlock and Chapman coming up big for the Red Sox. I don't know. We'll see. That's how I'm envisioning it. All right. So what do we got? How many people voted? 28 votes so far. Sox, Yanks. Right now we are 59% for the Red Sox, 41% for the Yanks. Now, we watched some stuff already. I'm curious to watch maybe Fried versus... Is there a hitter versus that we should watch? Fried face? Maybe Story? Or... we've seen him face... I've watched him face Bregman quite a bit. But somebody who's definitely going to be in there. All right, let's watch Fried versus Story recently. This is the most recent one. So he ends up going 0 for 3 versus Max. All right, so he's going to start him with a cutter here, first at bat. So this was a good start for Max, a little grindy, but pitched really well in this game. So backdoor cutter, 95.3. I don't know if that's an actual cutter or fastball, but that's absurd velocity. Absurd. Change up. So you see with Max, very hard guy to think along with. He has so many options. And also, this has been a really good thing to see lately, and why this is such a good sign for the Yankees. His velocity has really ticked up. 97.8, kind of out of nowhere here at the end of the year. You know, it doesn't feel like that's his game, but it's in there. Here comes the curveball. And Story somehow stays alive on that. That's a 20-mile-an-hour difference, and it's got 3,000 RPM of spin. That's a deadly pitch. So he's just staying away here. I wonder if the calculus changes a little bit with the short porch and right. Do you pitch in a little bit more to the righties and force them to inside out you to right? Yeah, look at the cut on natural cut on the four seam too. This is only a 0.3 H break, so that looks like a perceived cut, a boring effect in on the hitter. And he had gone away in this game, but watch how this ball bores in on Stowe. And just destroys him in. So starts him soft away, mixing away, and then uses that in movement late. In the first at bat. Second at bat, it's going to be a 3-pitch punch out. Oh, he's going to get ahead with the sweeper. Again, impossible to think with this dude. That's not a pitch you're looking for. Also, heavy usage of changeup versus Trev. I know for me, I pitched obviously a lot in both of these stadiums, Fenway and Yankee Stadium. And yes, I absolutely, when in doubt, would try to drive the guy to the big part of the ballpark. This is actually a happy accident, so he'll take that. But again, it's a pitch that he hadn't shown yet. So he's thrown him 6 different pitches already in the first 2 at-bats. I would definitely try to cheat one way or the other. Like, I would want a righty to try to take me out of the park opposite field in Fenway, and I want him to take me out pull side to left field in Yankee. And I just think that's fairly common sense. So sweeper curveball combination. Just want to show this again real quick. It's a sweeper way out in front, so he's clearly on a fastball timing. And then Max says, I'm going to stay slow, but I'm going to go curveball down. Which I love this combo. This is something that a lot of Mets pitchers were doing at the end of the year. Sproat and McClain, a lot of sweeper to curveball combo. He's going to go ahead and double up on the curveball here. Correctly reading that he's still on fastball timing as he pulls that foul. Now he's creeping a little bit back now to probably mid-speed timing. The fact that he hit that. This is how you have to work it through in your mind, and Max does this. So now he's going to go back to that up-in fastball. Instead, he scares the crap out of somebody in the front row. And now he'll use that to throw a changeup. And he gets a little tapper. Ends up being an infield hit because they screw it up. But, yeah, Max is a great fielder, so that was a weird play. Story's also really fast. But this was weird. And just credit to Story for not punching out. He's had trouble with strikeouts in his career. All right, so we'll keep an eye on these matchups for tonight. This is the last 3 times they faced each other. He worked them a lot with slow stuff away and then came in hard late. So if you're Story and you're heading into this game versus Max, you're probably wondering if he's going to try to come in at all early in the count, or you can kind of just look out over and kind of sit soft. So again, these are all the different little permutations that are going through their minds, as they head into this matchup today. All right. Do we have enough in this poll now? We got 38 votes. Looks like the Sox are way ahead. So we're going to go put the Tigers guards poll up now. And I'll continue to be in the chat here for a second. No, not a Q&A. Start a poll. Detroit versus Cleveland. Tigers. Cards. All right, so we're going to have people vote on that. In the meantime, we're still talking Red Sox Yankees here. We got a little talk about Chapman. I do believe Chapman's overall, first of all, he finished the year with just an incredible season. I do think Chapman's overall playoff numbers are pretty good, if I recall. Now, obviously I was there for 2 of the biggest home runs he ever allowed in his career. The one to Altuve, where ended our season in 19, and then the one to Mike Brasso in the next year in 2020, which was crazy. One of the only times in my career that I felt it coming. But look at how much this guy's pitched in the playoffs. He's got a 2.37 in 44 games. Let's not forget he's a 2-time World Series champion in 2016 with the Cubbies and 2023 with the Rangers. You know, the nature of the beast when you pitch the highest leverage at all times is when you give up runs, it's going to cost your team the games. But at the end of the day, you look at the numbers: 6.4 hits per 9, 3.8 walks per 9, 12.4 strikeouts per 9. Still a lethal weapon, and I think he has a lot of motivation actually pitching against the Yankees. That did not end in a very nice fashion. So I'm looking for the combination of Whitlock and Chapman, who both have a little bit of axe to grind, maybe in their own minds, maybe not, to kind of be the ones to potentially take it to the Yankees at the end of these games. But it's going to be fascinating because they've also seen those guys pitch a lot. All right, what else we got? We could watch Romy. We could watch a little bit of Romy. Oh, and then he gave up that big home run, obviously, in 2016 World Series to Rajai Davis, which was just more of an incredible swing. Also, Joe Madden tried to kill him in that series, pitched him like a bazillion times. When you say mid-speed timing, you mean a little late on fastball, a little early on breakball. I mean, like if you think of speed, like the speed bands as 3 bands, there's hard, medium speed, and 2 speeds down or soft. So the curveball for Fried is like 77. I consider that 2 speeds down from the fastball, so 2 levels down. I would consider that soft. The medium speed is like the cutter changeup speed, like so that mid 80s to upper 80s. That's like medium speed. And if you've been watching this show at all, you see how much damage is done on medium speed mistakes in the middle. Those pitches are crushed the most. Obviously fastballs at times, but medium speed pitches in the middle are super dangerous. So as a pitcher, when you're trying to figure out a guy's timing speed-wise, when a guy is like ahead of your 2 speeds down pitch, but not ahead of it enough to miss it, he's more on time for the medium speeds. That's what we saw there. He threw him a couple slow curveballs. Story was way out front, but not out front enough to miss them, pull them hard foul, which tells me his timing is more in the medium band. Anyway, Rafael and Yoshida are on a heater, going to be the difference makers. That's a big deal. Cedon is such a sneaky player. We talked about him a lot. We talked about Cedon a lot earlier in the year because his defensive value is top 3 in the league. He also had some really clutch moments this year, but he just was one of the worst hitters in the big leagues in the second half in terms of OPS, even though he's hot here at the end. So he's just such a weird player, streaky player. But he's always there laying in the weeds at the bottom of the order. If he gets on, he's a problem because he can really run the bases. He's got pull side pop that doesn't play as well in Yankee Stadium, but also a big difference maker on defense. Cole Cates, did you have a mental routine or something you did right before you pitched to get in the right headspace? This is a good question. I'll take that really quick from Cole Cates. Mental routine or something you did right before you pitched to get in the right headspace. I try to keep things consistent. But I did have something that I learned to do once I became closer for the first time, because all of a sudden it felt like a different kind of pressure to me, and I was like, how do I deal with this new expectation or pressure not leaking into my brain? And what I came up with, I remember one time I was in the bathroom at Coors Field, and I didn't have to do this all the time, but sometimes I had to do it just to remind myself, is I would look myself in the mirror and I'd say, look, I don't know what's going to happen out there. Nobody knows. There's a lot that's out of my control. But what I do know is that if I relentlessly commit full out and be convicted on every single one of my pitches, then I can live with the result, and I like my chances in that circumstance. I've done all the work. I know I'm good. I know what to throw. I know I can make good decisions. As long as I'm brave and I stay strong with that mentally, I can live with the results. And that's what I would try to remind myself before I went out to warm up. And when I was warming up, it was more like just trying to make sure that I'm quieting everything down and zoning in on what I'm doing out there. Sometimes it's harder than others. Sometimes things do creep into your brain. You're a human, but I would always try to be distilling my thoughts down to as few of them as possible. All right, back to this. I think the Yankees struggle heavily versus Crochet, but I think they've cleaned up their major defense base running woes. They lose game 1, but win game 2 and 3. You can see a path to that, G Infinity. I agree. But I think they got a puncher's shot against Crochet tonight as well, just because they've seen him so many times. So that's going to be interesting. A lot of the minus CWPA is from the 2016 World Series. Okay, yeah, because of that big swing on the home run by Rajai Davis. I mean, that's probably like something insane just on the one play. Yeah, sometimes he does. He's had some big home runs, Jaden. I agree about Chapman. It's happened every once in a while. Oh, people like my prep, so that's good. It's just a little advice. I mean, other people do it different ways, but for me, it was all about getting myself locked in the right manner. We have one more little bit of info that I think I would like to read off. I believe there's a little bit of more info in here about some of these stuff with these pitchers really quick. About Crochet. So let's talk about Crochet just for a second. Red Sox Garrett Crochet has drifted away from his four-seam fastball over the last 2 months of the season. He threw the pitch 42% to righties from April through July and just 29% in August and September. This is a progressive trend that has occurred throughout the season as opposed to a sharp cut in any month. Yes, it's happened progressively. He's used more sinkers against right-handers. So this has been something that's interesting because, again, this has all started to come around more in the last year and a half. Before, you're almost prohibited from even trying sinkers versus opposite-handed hitters anymore, unless they refer called strikes. But he's done a really good job actually throwing those glove side ones and then also throwing some up and away runners. So it's really more about how you utilize it than a pitch being like taboo in general. It's just like be smart with it. Like don't throw it down the middle for contact, but utilize it for chase or for freeze. And the sinker shape also protects that four seam shape. So a lot of that stuff. And then was there anything on Fried? No, nothing on Fried. Okay, so that's my final thoughts on Yankees and Red Sox going into tonight's game 1. Where are we in the poll? We got 36 votes. Guardians winning 61% to 39. So we're going to end that right there. We're going to put up Cubs Padres, and then we'll get into our last game of the night. No, I don't want to add an option. Hold on. Start poll. All right, we got a little more in the chat before we head over to the last game, Reds Doyers tonight, which we will be on live. I don't have the time yet. I think I'm gonna do baseball after dark, probably like 9 o'clock tonight. That's my thought. I have a meeting at 12 to determine the next few days, but that's my thought for now. And then so we'll catch the end of the Yankees Red Sox into the beginning of the Dodgers Reds, and obviously we'll recap the first 2 games as well. Cole Kate, so basically you're trusting your preparation, you're okay with whatever happens if you do it to the best of your ability on that given day. It's just like how you have to learn to define success. In baseball, you're gonna have so many chances, you're gonna keep going out there. And when you play long enough, you realize that there's so much that can happen, and you have to quiet those possibilities from your head. Like even guys who pitch great and are great pitchers end up, if you're out there long enough, you end up being pretty embarrassed in some big games and some big situations, and you get walked off and different things like that, especially out of the bullpen in a high leverage role. Sad stuff's going to happen to you. So you have to find a way to quiet all those possibilities out of your mind and forget about consequences of things. And just remember, like, you have a job to do, and how you go about the process is everything. If I'm present when I'm pitching, then I'm okay with what happens afterwards. And if I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. But if I'm if I give it up because I wasn't present and I wasn't in the right mental frame, I can't forgive myself for that. If the Yankees lose game 1 and win the next 2, it would be the first time in this format. Yep, that would be the first time. All right, now we're going to get to the Dodgers and the Reds. Oh, I think my son might be back. Oh, hi. Did you get a new truck?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Is this a crane truck?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It's so yellow. Do you want to show the truck to the stream?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. This one's big. Are you kidding me with this truck?
Yeah.
Look at this thing. Is this a brooder again? Yeah, this is a brooder. This brand is like legit. The crane in here, the big hook. All right. Love you. Nice new truck. Go play, baby. I'll be out in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Love you.
Bye, Adam.
Mom.
Bye.
Calls you Adam now.
He
Say
called me Adam now?
Say Adam.
That's not my name.
Say Adam.
They're calling it the Aaron Judge of trucks on here. All right. It is time to get into our final game. Wow, Padres are out huge in the poll here. First 15 votes. Final game to get ready for tonight. Dodgers and Reds. It's Hunter Green and Blake Snell. Before I even get into it, there is a little bit of a note on Hunter Green here. Hunter Green gets the start for the Los Angeles, and his arm angle's way up. In September, he averaged 42 degrees on his arm angle. On his four seam, pushing up to 45 in his most recent outing. He averaged around 36 degrees this season. And from 22 to 23, he was about 33. So his arm angle is actually going the opposite direction, a la Justin Verlander, that most people's go on. The opposite direction most people kind of drift over their career. He's going up randomly, but that's made his four-seamer have its best vertical break of his career, averaging 17.8 in September at 99.7 miles an hour. So that's the highest vertical break he's ever had in a month and the second hardest velocity. His zone rate is 67% in September. He's allowing 9% barrels and a 14% swinging strike rate, both a touch better than average. But that zone rate of 67% is super high. So he's been attacking everybody, pounding the zone. And as we saw in the game that Hunter Green pitched, the near no-hitter versus the Cubs second time, third time through, decided to swing a lot. Swing early and often because you're going to get pitches to hit early in the count. And his command is good, but he makes mistakes like everybody else. So I think you'll see a lot of ambush attempts by the Dodgers in this game. Particularly the big dogs are probably going to be a little aggressive. Mookie, Shohei, Freddie. The zone rate is 67% in September, 56% is average. So he's the only pitcher in September with a zone rate above 61% on a fastball and a greater than 13.5% swinging rate. So swinging strike rate. So it's been amazing. But anyway, that's a little bit of notes on Hunter Green from Lance, who I'd love to have on the show. He's been outstanding. His content's outstanding. You mentioned it yesterday about Snell throwing a no-hitter against the Reds last year. While half the lineup for the Reds changed, you think it would be a boost for Snell or the Reds hitters? I just thought it was just interesting that he faced a lot of these guys and they couldn't touch him last year. Now, again, it's not all the guys. Of course, there's going to be turnover, but I just think Snell matches up very well against this Reds lineup. Very, very well. A lot of swing and miss in that lineup, particularly from like Ellie, who's their best hitter. That is so loud. Do you think arm angles on different pitches affect hitters? I think if it's drastic, you can see it, but if it's within 3, 4, 5 inches, I don't think you can see it. I really don't. It comes out so fast. Maybe there's something about it that tips you off, but actually seeing it, no. All right, this kid is really in my ear now.
Do you want me to shut the door?
Yes, please. Thank you. All right. The Dodgers look to become the first team to win back-to-back World Series in the last 25 years. The last time that happened was 98 to 2000 Yankees. But the Dodgers have struggled to meet expectations this season. They're a 500 team from July 4th onward, and they closed out strong by winning 15 of the last 20 games. So they were under 500 by quite a bit from July 4th towards most to the end of the season. And then they finally went on a run at the end to get back to 500 and close strong and make their fans believe in them again. The Reds clinched the postseason spot on Sunday thanks to the Mets losing, so they kind of backed their way in with 83 wins. If you're looking for a little bit of a puncher's chance in the series by the Reds, it's the starting pitching: Abbott, Hunter Green, and Lodolo. Dodgers are going to go Snell, Yamamoto, Ohtani. So that's obviously pretty damn good. Dodgers won 5 of 6 against the Reds in the regular season, including a sweep at Dodger Stadium in late August. And LA has won 12 of the last 15 versus the Reds at home. Hunter Green gets the start today. He is an LA native, and he was unbelievable at the very end of the year. 2-0 with a 2.64 in his final 5 starts, and that includes a bad outing. So he was basically unbelievable heading into there. And that's why I give them a chance tonight. Hunter Green could lead them to victory, but I don't see them doing much against Snell. So it's going to have to be a pretty low-scoring game in my mind, the way I'm visualizing the Reds' path to winning this game. Shohei's hot. He broke his own Dodgers single-season record with his 55th homer at the last game of the year. He's reached base in the last 31 games. He scored 146 runs this year, most by a Dodger since Hub Collins in 1890, so that's pretty good. But the Reds handled Ohtani well this year. 3 for 25, no home runs, 3 RBIs, 7 strikeouts. To me, that just means he's due to smash them, so I think he will smash them. Blake Snell's last 3 starts, as I mentioned, he's been pitching really well. 19 innings, 1 run, 28 Ks, 5 walks. 356 opponent OPS, which is beyond good. That's spectacular. This is Snell's first postseason start in 3 years when he beat the Phillies 8-5 in Game 2 of the 2022 NLCS as a Padre. Snell is 4-3 with a 3.47 and 10 career postseason starts. So we've seen him have the highest of the high. He had the Rays in a good position versus the Dodgers in that 2020 World Series. Obviously, you all know what happened there. Got taken out. It did not go well. But he's also had tough games as well because that's baseball. Also, the Reds stink versus lefties. 25th in the MLB and OPS versus lefties this year. This is an outstanding matchup for Snell. He just has to hit on that. The big key is to get ahead and to worry about the one dude in their lineup that can maybe hit him, which is Miguel Andujar, former Yankee. Last 32 games, 374, 11, 560, 11 extra base hits. And he hit 389 versus lefties this year. There's also some injury stuff with the Dodgers. Tommy Edman could be coming back from ankle thing. Max Muncy from lower body soreness. Will Smith is probably not going to come back with the fracture, and so it'd probably be Benny Biceps, Ben Royfred back there getting most of the playing time. Third base for the Reds, Ke'Bryan Hayes, back spasms, missed the last 6 games over the final week of the season. Sal Stewart led the Reds with 5 homers and 55 at-bats in the last 18 games after being called up on September 1st. So Sal Stewart is a possible new entry into this matchup. Snell's never faced him. You never know. He could screw up and give up a dinger to Sal Stewart. And then we got Terry Francona and Dave Roberts who are matching up. Obviously, Dave played for Terry when he stole that big base versus the Yankees in 2004. The famous stolen base off of Mariano Rivera. Do we have anything interesting here? Nope. Nope. Okay. Dodgers and Reds. We don't have any info yet on some of these injury decisions for the Dodgers. But again, they throw out the big 3 out there. I think the key is to be aggressive versus Hunter Green. I'm wondering I think there's actually a pretty recent... I would like to see Hunter Green versus some of these top guys in the lineup, just to see how we went at them the last time. Let me switch the poll, because we got 26 votes. That's enough. It's huge in favor of the Padres. And then we're going to do one more. It's going to be Dodgers versus Reds. I'm pretty sure this one is going to skew heavy Dodgers as well. But okay, let's see if we can find Hunter Green versus the Dodgers. I think it did happen this year. I think we already said that. So let's see. Yeah, here it is. All right, so Hunter Green. First, let's watch the at-bats versus Shohei, and then we'll do Mookie, and then we'll do Freddie. Pages also clipped him early in the year on a breaking ball. But Pages was the hero in this game, which we watched a lot yesterday, but I want to watch how he pitched to Ohtani in this game. All right. Let's start him with 101. Again, he's basically a 2-pitch pitcher, has the split. As his third pitch, he just tries to ram it down your throat with 100 miles an hour all day long and pretty good command of it. But that's a challenge heater to Shohei 101 right down the middle. You don't want to be in this spot 2-0 having to throw a fastball to this guy. But that 101 plays.
Power, but he's going to provide it in contact.
And it definitely plays there, up above the zone.
Here's his 2-2.
There's 102-2.
The mound and
Here's finally the slider. So 5 heaters and a slider and a home run position. But if it just shows you right there, if he has his timing on a fastball, then it's probably not the best to hit the slider. Here's a walk the second at bat.
Taking it right to the ball.
They played very recently. Dodgers could absolutely win it all with how they've been playing ball. Pajas is very good in playoffs. Tony will turn on it. This is it. First repeat. Continued dynasty. Well, we'll see. Yeah, that was 3 straight 102. A lot of swinging strikes up in the zone to Shohei when he's got it there. 1-1. So this is a Shohei at bat with a man in scoring position. This time he's being a little more careful. He goes slider, right? He goes slider, no, splitter, fastball, slider. 2-1 count. Now 2-1 splitter. So behind in the count, splitter with a man on base. Good take by Shohei. 3-1 splitter. So not willing to give in to Shohei. This gives us a little hint that he'd rather face Mookie Betts than Shohei. I think that makes sense. Right on right. Here's a 3-2. Really good pitch there, but Shohei's on it.
Another 3-2.
I think Shohei's has to be on the fastball versus him. So be curious to see how he utilizes the off speed in this game. Maybe first at bat of the game he continues to go right at him with fastballs because it's that nobody on, nobody out situation. But I think in big spots, I think you're going to see quite a bit of mix. Here's a split. Ooh, comes unglued, misses it. Now he's going slider. So yeah, he's going heavy off speed after that first 5-pitch attack. And this is with nobody on here. Splitter again. Hammers it off his own foot. And now splitter again. So no fastball at all in the third at-bat. So takeaways from this. Off speed, especially the splitter, looked pretty good to Shohei, provided you can get him to look for your fastball. So I still think in the first at-bat today, I'm looking for Hunter Green to probably come out with fastballs. If Shohei's ready for that, 1-0 Dodgers. That's my prediction. All right, Betts. Betts had a good game versus Hunter Green, if I recall.
His first one to Mookie Betts is
Fastball up in, taking all the way, and then he's going to come and ambush this 1-0. Gets on top of a pretty good pitch up and in, so definitely on time for the heater there. Second at bat.
Put it on 100.
Fastball up in. That's just a better location than the previous.
2 on, nobody out. Betts swings and misses.
Ooh, splitter that kind of cuts. Gets him to swing through that. I definitely think in a big spot you can utilize right on right changeup to Mookie if you have his attention on the fastball. Also, this was the ridiculous play by Hunter Green. Sick play behind the back. This was a slider. So this at bat, he goes 4-seam split slider. I want to see the slider again. Let's see where he gets him. Yeah, so little to no doubt that Mookie's on a fastball timing and that ball tunneled really well. He tried to hold up. Poked it in play, and then they have one more at bat. Heater dotted. That's where you got to pitch Mookie, in my opinion, is away, and more away. If you go in, maybe in off, that's not a bad pitch. Splitter in off. But I just pitched Mookie away the whole time. I wasn't trying to let him get his bat out in front and clip me to left. Another splitter pulled away, and he's going to get him out here with the 100. See, that's not a very good pitch. He kind of gets away with it. Mookie doesn't get under it. This is the advantage of throwing 101, but this is probably this could have been a homer. Mookie just comes in a bit above this ball. It is true, Jaden. He doesn't have the 2 speeds down pitch, so it eliminates a whole speed band that you have to deal with. You can just look fastball and adjust a mistake breaking ball, but you do see that the fastball and the slider tunnel really well. So that's an issue. I do think if he throws more splitters, that's the pitch they're not looking for. So I would like to see him utilize that. If he can throw splitters for strikes and land them for strikes at the bottom of the zone and below the zone, he might have one of the best games of his life tonight. But if it's just fastball slider, it might be tough. All right, let's watch him versus Freddie. Freddie comes out and swings and gets a great pitch to hit and just misses it. First pitch slider. So Freddie's always ready to hit. That was a good pitch to swing at. Second at bat. Yeah, Greinke curveball would be fun, but I don't think a guy with this much arm speed can slow it down that much. Slider there, splitter coming here. So he hasn't seen a fastball yet. It's just interesting because when I watch him pitch against the Cubs or the Mets, he just rammed fastballs down people's throats for the most part. But against this team, being a little more off-speed heavy to the elite guys. Yeah, still no fastball in this at-bat to Freddie. Keeps trying to get him to bite at the down in. Here comes the first heater. So it ends up working out for him. Freddie does have a little bit of a swing through at times, off the plate away. And that's where he ends up going after not showing him a fastball till the 7th or 8th pitch he's seen in this game. Okay, gonna hit a double here. If I'm Freddie, I'm definitely looking for slider. Yeah, he looks for it, misses it. He threw a curve at 81 last year. Splitter down. Four-seamer coming here. All right, so 2-1. Split again. When in doubt, go off speed versus the elite guys. That seems to be the plan. What a weird swing by Freddie. Manages to hit this 100 in the gap for a double. So this is just poor location, but I think Freddie might be the one guy that I've seen so far that's not on the fastball. It doesn't have reason to be. He got beat with one, but Green's shown a heavy preference to get ahead of him with soft stuff. Pelvis load Freddie. Man, he just smacked that ball. Look at how he just thrusts into that ball. Impressive swing. So, all right, so I look for Hunter Green with these three hitters. He definitely has the first two, Shohei and Mookie, on fastballs. Definitely has Freddie more on slow timing. Let's see how he plays with that today. That will be intriguing to watch as we head into tonight's game. How we doing in the poll? We got 65% for the Dodgers, 35% for the Reds. So according to our chat, which has been tremendous again today, we have the Guardians winning, the Red Sox winning, the Dodgers winning, and the Padres winning. So that's where we're at right now. Now, Dodgers are going to be a little interesting as well with who they decide to put into their bullpen in this game. They have a lot of options, and quite frankly, it's going to look a lot more different. It's going to look a lot different than it did just a week or two ago. You're going to have Sasaki in there. You're going to have probably Emmett Sheehan in there. You're going to have Tanner Scott, who I think's finally gotten some outs recently. Vesia's in there, who just struck out the side. You're probably going to have Edgardo Enriquez, who just struck out the side. Too bad that Kopech. Any news on Gratterall? It's going to be interesting to see how they piece this thing together, but I do like the fact that Sasaki's in there now and Sheehan's in there now. Those are two different guys. On the Red side, an interesting guy that is now in the bullpen for them is our guy Chase Burns, who has boasted some elite strikeout numbers, 67 strikeouts in 43 innings, and has not faced any of these Dodgers. Now, I don't love him pitching right on the back of Hunter Green. If I were managing this team, I would be careful about pitching these guys back to back. I would utilize some of my other type of movement pitchers in the right matchups if you can swing it today on the back of Hunter Green. And then I would love to use Chase Burns after Abbott and Lodolo. I think that's a deadly weapon in those other two games. So I like that dynamic a little bit more. It's something that a lot of people don't think about. This really caught my attention in 2022. We had a guy like Jacob deGrom or Max Scherzer pitching for us, and then sinker guys like Cookie Carrasco and Taijuan Walker pitching for us. Being that I'm a sinker slider guy, more of a finesse contact pitcher, freeze strikeout type guy, I preferred to come in after the four-seam flamethrowers. I always felt like it was better for me to come in after deGrom or after Scherzer, not as good for me to come after Bassett or after Taijuan Walker, even though it was fine, especially Bassett because he played a lot of East-West game I thought was tough. So that's an important consideration that I think managers are starting to pick up on a little bit. Not saying not to put Chase Burns in there all the time. I'm just saying there is a little bit of similarity here, and that does matter in terms of the quality of that bats that they're capable of throwing on you. I know Tanner Scott had a 6.5 ERA in September. I think he finished the year with a couple of good games at the end. Am I wrong about that? They have him not tipping anymore. Man, he had such a tough year. Well, yeah, so 2 games with no runs at the very, very end at Seattle, at Arizona, and really 4 out of the last 5. I mean, they're in a spot where they're probably going to have to use him at some point, but you know, that's tricky. That's very, very tricky. Who was my favorite guy to come in after probably DeGrom, honestly. DeGrom or like a Herman Marquez, guys who had good four-seam fastball and good velocity ahead of me, or even like coming in on the back of a lefty who had a good four-seamer, like maybe young Kyle Freeland or J Happ. J Happ was excellent. If J Happ started the game for the Yankees and I came in, that was really good. So yeah, they really. What about Jack Dreyer? Is he healthy? Is he healthy? We have any information on Jack Dreyer, Mar? Let me go to the roster resource for the Dodgers again, because I get confused about who is on this team in their bullpen. All right. This is the last thing we're doing today. I feel like we've done a really good hour and a half of getting ready for these games tonight. Tanner Scott, Vesia, Trinan, Banda, Enriquez, Sasaki, Dreyer, Robleski, Knack. So Robleski and Dreyer are additional lefties, but Robleski would be pitching more of a long relief role if he's in there. I think Emmett Sheehan will be in there. Landon Knack, I don't know. He's another guy who can provide length. And I don't know the status on some of these other guys. Gratterall. Man, it'd be great if Phillips wasn't blown out. Or Stewart. I don't know what's up with Kirby. Kopech. They had lots of guys, but it kind of got away from them a little bit with these injuries. Gratterall would be a good guy to get in there. I know my love. I'm done in like a minute. Kasperius went back to AAA. Is that what happened there? I know they have Haney now. There was some talk of maybe using Haney. So we'll see what the Dodgers end up putting on the roster. That'll be a good talking point for tonight and for tomorrow morning. But that's it. I think that's going to be it for today. Great stream. Good stream this morning. And then we're going to go figure out how we're going to present this thing tonight. I will put up the upcoming stream for Baseball After Dark pretty soon once I figure out my timing. But this was fun. Big shout out to the guys at MLB Network who have the notes pack. Hopefully it hits tomorrow early enough in the morning where I get a lot of this info again for tomorrow, and we'll see what comes out extra today. I didn't get to cover any of the Mets stuff that I wanted to talk about a little bit, still, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about that in the off season. So anyway, great job today, everybody, and thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you guys tonight if you're on the stream tonight. If not, we'll be back here tomorrow morning. So you're going to see a lot of me if you're into this type of content. Thanks a lot for hanging with me. Peace out.